Hey everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vinny Savitola.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, which is the largest statewide business association in the country. For more info on us, visit njbia.org. We release a new episode every other Wednesday, so be on the lookout. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance. They provide home, auto, and workers' comp insurance, and they're the official sponsor of the show, so check them out if you need some insurance.
Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get started. Our show drops every other Wednesday on any podcast network you like on iTunes, Google Play. If you're not into that whole podcast scene, you want to check out these smiling faces every other Wednesday, catch it on YouTube at youtube.com/NJBIA. Either way, we'd love it if you subscribe. It can be difficult to remember to jump in every other Wednesday and go, oh, are they new, are they not? Subscribe at njbia.org/subscribe, and they'll notify you whenever we're new. So today's guest, say hi, introduce yourself, is Caryn Ross of SpectaBridge Solutions.
Hi everyone, I am so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I love this.
This is great. We do love it.
This is a great job. Can I not get into this gig every other month?
Oh my God, thank you. So was it a trip to get to Trenton today?
No. I live up by Hillsborough, New Jersey, right down Route 1. But, you know, there's like a wind tunnel storm going on out
You guys have an
there.
awesome movie theater. I don't know what the name of it is, but I don't know if you've been there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I never go to it, but thank
it's
you.
Is
amazing.
it the one by 22? Is that the one you're talking about?
I don't know, but they...
off Radar Boulevard, are you saying? That's where we are.
I haven't been there too many times. I don't know where it is.
Big,
but you go in and they have glass cases all over the place of movie memorabilia, costumes.
Really?
Yes. It's one of the few movie theaters I've ever seen that have like you know, like they care. Like you can tell that they're movie fans, and they put that all over the place. I'll put the name of it at the bottom of the screen while we're talking.
All right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, but I was saying it's like a wind tunnel out there today.
Yes.
So every direction I was trying to get down here, because I had a route, I was getting misguided by the police because I guess everybody's garbage cans and branches and trees are down. And I just got a new car last week.
Ooh.
So I was literally like, please do not
Don't touch my baby.
car.
Yeah.
Do not do anything. Branches were flying. It's strange because it's beautiful out.
It
so
is.
very weird weather today.
What I really hate is that for whatever reason, I use Google Maps. I'm sure there's other ones that are better
Waze.
for GPS. Waze.
I love Waze.
Can you tell, because I can't do this with Google Maps, I can't tell Google Maps, there is an obstruction in the road here and I need to get around it. Like,
No, you can't tell Google Maps any of that. You
yeah,
can tell
like,
Waze that.
You can? All right, so
You
I'm
shouldn't
probably
be
going to
doing
start
that while you're
Waze.
driving. It won't let you. It will ask you if you were the
It will,
passenger.
yes, it will ask you to affirm that you are the passenger, but only when you are looking for directions. If you tell it that there's a cop hidden here, or there's a car that's pulled over, or there's a pothole, it will not ask you if you're the passenger in order to alert them, which I feel like is really disingenuous.
No.
Like we want you to be safe,
I
but
agree.
only unless you're gonna like let us know that something is up ahead.
Because I feel like part of me being safe is not getting lost. And that's the problem. Like, so, you know, there will be a detour in the road and there won't be any indication of how I'm supposed to go around it. So I'll turn off, hoping that I can kind of get around it. But then the GPS keeps routing me back
That's
to the
where it
thing.
started. That's what happened to me today. So I tested my new navigation system on my car, and then I put the Googles on because that's the only thing I trust. I don't even trust Waze. I got so lost in Waze up
Really?
in Connecticut one time. I was lost for 2 hours. I said, never again will I do
2
Waze.
hours?
There was an accident and it deterred me off. I don't know where it was taking me. I think I ended up in Maine and back into Connecticut. I couldn't tell you. But my navigation was routing me around something, and it routed me right back. But the Google did it. So I said, I turned off my navigation and said, okay, sorry.
And the weird thing is, like, okay, so there'll be a lot of times I'm driving and Google will kind of come up with an alert that's like, we found a faster route, or there's a slowdown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where were you on this one? You know, like.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so today's icebreaker is, are you an overpacker or an underpacker?
Oh, that is so easy. I am an overpacker.
Me too.
In so many ways.
Totally.
And I travel a lot with my business.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do not want to take extra luggage with me because, first of all, I had a terrible experience. I was going out on a speaking presentation back in October. And I was flying with, I won't say the carrier because I don't want to.
Good idea.
Yes, I'm going to keep that. But there was several flights going out. I was going out into the San Francisco area. And I literally got there 10 thinking, oh, good, the time changed. I'm going to have 3. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to rest. I'm going to be up for my presentation. I gave my luggage because I checked it. And so, for some reason, the plane just couldn't fly. Something was wrong with a light. And we were sitting there for hours. And they're like, well, you can switch your flights. All my clothes for the conference, what I was presenting in, my presentation, everything I was filming was in that bag. I said, okay, so you're going to give me the bag, right? Because I overpacked, of course. And they said, no, the bag will not follow you. So I had to stay and wait. And needless to say, I did not arrive in San Francisco till 2 in the morning our time.
Oh my!
I spent 11 hours at Newark Airport.
God!
Yes,
Oh my
it was fun.
gosh.
I made a lot of friends. I connected with a client.
Oh my God!
Had a lot of free food.
Jeez.
So my lesson learned there, at least pack one bag that you take on the plane with you, especially when you're going for business, and make sure you have a change of outfit and everything you need for the conference minimally. So now I'm trying to pack down a lot, but it becomes very difficult for me.
Yeah, I that is always my goal, to pack down, and it never works out.
Well, girls, that's
Yeah.
what happens.
What does that mean,
Shoes.
pack down? Like underpack?
Underpack.
Yeah.
The goal is always to bring just the bare minimum, just exactly what I think I'm
Right.
going to need. And the problem is, I always get to that point where I'm like, yeah, I think this is probably it. And look at how much more room in this suitcase there is. I could totally bring those extra shoes or that extra jacket or that whatever.
I have friends that pack their outfits, and it's all sequined, and they literally lift it out. I've been traveling with them, and there's the 3 outfits, the shoes, and it's so nicely packed. I tried that; it just didn't work.
Yeah, that takes such forethought. I
Right.
feel like I can't.
I think that's what they do. They probably pack.
They
for
think
days.
about it.
I'm there literally the night before.
I can't.
Looking at the weather, wherever I'm going, is it going to work?
I mean, I have a pack list. I'm a pretty organized person, and I have a Word document that I update every time I travel. And at the top it says, pack list.
Wow, a Word document.
A Word document.
Can you share that? I want to know what's on that document.
Absolutely, I can share it with you. But it
You
lists
have
like
a business there.
maybe, I don't know, but like tops, these 3, bottoms, couple of pair of
Right.
jeans, khakis, skirt, whatever. Like, they're categories, and I've worked very hard on this pack list, so it works for me, but I feel like that takes it to a whole new level
it
when
takes
you've
it
got
to a
like
whole new level.
a whole like packet of just that outfit for the day.
And here's the thing, here's the catch. You might not run into this a lot because you're a male, but women carry makeup and a lot more toiletries and shampoos. And if you want to go and check in and not check your bag, what does TSA tell you? You have to have everything in these little 4 or 5 ounce bottles, which I learned to do, and I did it very efficiently. Well, I get to the hotel sometimes and say, what is what? I forgot to label them.
Yeah.
You're smelling, okay, is this a shampoo?
I know.
Is this the conditioner? Is this my face cream?
Yes.
What is the point of telling me I can't carry something that's like the size of a water bottle? But if I carry 40 little things in
You can,
that
40.
have the same like liquid content, like I hate that.
Yeah, I agree.
And they'll take it out. I've seen women lose
yeah.
like hundreds of dollars of shampoo. They're trying to get it to
I
go
lose
and they catch
sunscreen
it.
all the time. Like,
Yes.
I don't know why sunscreen is not just universally sold in the maximum amount that you're allowed to have on a plane, but like I wind up like having to throw out sunscreen just about every time I go on vacation because it's just too big.
Yeah,
It's a gimmick. They want you to buy the sunscreen when you get there, full size, at the hotel.
I hope
which is twice
TSA
the
gets a
price.
cut. You know?
Doubtful.
There's very few sunscreens you can get in small travel sizes. Very few. I have searched high and low. Trust me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
High and low. I've
Probably
searched.
start squeezing it out into like the little shampoo bottles or
Yes.
something.
That's a really good idea, actually.
Yeah, maybe
never
you need
thought
to
of
put that
that.
on the Word document because I would
Yes.
always forget to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just recently gave up on that, though. I check all of the toiletries. I check everything because I just don't have the patience anymore to squeeze everything into these little bottles. And as long as I've got room in my bag for it, screw it.
Now I just have a nice travel bag and I keep them in, and I have what I call I'm checking in bag, so that could go into the luggage, and I have I'm carrying on bag. So when I travel in another 2 weeks, I'm only gone for 2 days. I know exactly that's the bag I will pluck out of my closet and go.
Great. I
Because
do
that stresses me the most.
Yeah, no,
Missing something with my toiletries. The clothes I can figure out and buy. You can't always find your makeup everywhere you want. That favorite lipstick.
You're totally right. I totally agree with you. I actually started doing a pre-packed toiletries bag. Like, I know exactly what I need, and over the course of however many years I've been traveling, I've gotten duplicates of stuff. So I have 2 face creams. One is on my bathroom sink and one is in the toiletry bag. And I have a little note in the toiletry
Great
bag.
minds think alike.
Right.
That's exactly what I do.
There's a little note in the toiletry bag, only missing, toothbrush.
Right.
The stuff that like I use on a daily basis that I wouldn't necessarily need to put in
Get
there.
a travel toothbrush, travel.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably
toothpaste.
right.
I just buy everything travel
And then it's
size
just
and
in
throw it
there.
and it's there.
Some of that stuff you can get from the hotel too. Like if you're
Right.
like, hey,
Yeah.
look, I forgot
Some will give
toothpaste
you
or
it.
whatever.
Some
Yeah.
will give it to you.
That's
They'll give
true.
you the shampoo and stuff
That's true.
too. But you can't be picky,
Yeah, and I'm picky.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
Shampoo
you.
especially.
Are you
Shampoo
surprised?
especially.
So are you an under or an overpacker?
It's weird. I'm like both. So I'm an underpacker on the important stuff. Like, if I'm gone for 3 days, I'll have just enough t-shirts, just enough underwear, just enough socks, whatever, and it all fits in there. But then I'll overpack on stupid things that like I don't need. So like
elaborate.
Like every electronic device I own like comes with me. Like I'll have my carry-on bag and I'll have like my phone, my Kindle, my Switch, my Vita, my 3DS, like, and none of these things wind up getting used on the plane. Like, so
funny.
like, yeah. But
so there's a hint to that.
Yeah.
Mike, well, I could give you one because you don't have this. So
Sure.
you know how you always go and get makeup and you get the free makeup bags and the big bags? My girlfriend said, put all your media stuff in there. And I literally put all my wires,
like
my
makeup
headsets, my headset, and it's clear. And I just throw it in my backpack that's going on the plane with me with my business stuff, pull it out, I can see it all, and it's all there. And I bought one set of extra everything. So I just leave it in my bag.
That's great.
I leave it when I travel, if I work, if I'm going to an event, even for a day. So
I like it.
Because I am tired of overthinking, and then I'm sitting at the airport or I'm sitting at the event, and I go,
I need that charger.
wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chargers too.
Not that
Those gotta come.
adapter.
Yeah.
I forgot, and then I'm panicked, and I'm not even paying attention to anything going around.
Totally. That is the worst when you're halfway through an event and your phone is at 30% and you
Right.
realize you've forgotten the charger. Or worse, you've got a charger, but it's one of those temporary ones that's this big, it's like 6 inches long, and so you can plug it in, you can charge your phone, but you literally cannot use your phone because the outlet is, 3 inches off the ground. God, that's awful. I mean, these are seriously things that like stress me out.
Oh yeah. I use an electric razor. I've never really been able to do the manual ones, so there's always like a palpable fear that I'm going to forget to bring it with me. Because you can go to a desk at a hotel and just be like, can I get a razor? And they'll throw you one. But like the electric thing, not so much. And then I always fear I'm going to leave it at the hotel,
Ooh,
that and all the electronic devices I'm bringing and all their chargers. Because
The chargers are so
the chargers,
easy to leave.
yeah.
I always leave a charger behind.
I mean, thank goodness, like these days, most of these things are not proprietary. So like, if I leave the USB-C cable at like some hotel, I can always just get another USB-C cable. But like, still,
But it irks me. Like, it really makes me mad that I have to spend $15 on a new charger because I was dumb enough to forget it.
I have it a headset.
Well, yeah, there's that. What really worries
At the
me is like,
they'll double charge you. I forgot my headset, and I was going
I hadn't
5 hours.
considered
That's
that.
California. I needed a headset.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping in. I'm listening to music. I'm listening to movies. And
Gotta have
exact one I
earbuds.
bought for maybe $30 was like $70 at the airport. I go, really?
That is criminal.
they got you.
They got you. They know
Yes.
you're an audience that they're going to serve at that moment because you're desperate to have a headset like me.
I'm sorry.
So that's why I packed that nice cosmetic
Yeah.
bag, and I bought, that is my extra headset now.
Yeah. I did that with a cosmetic bag and a first aid kit. So I have those cosmetic bags that they just give away for free,
Right.
whenever you buy a certain amount of dollars at Clinique or whatever. So I have like some Band-Aids. I've got a Ziploc baggie full of Tylenol and Tylenol PM, and thank God they're different colors because otherwise it would be very dangerous.
Right.
Got a little tube of Xanax in there because when I fly,
Oh, I have it too.
I need a little
My
hit of
Dramamine,
something, right?
Sometimes I get airsick if it's
Something.
bumpy.
Yeah, so I've got like this little first aid kit that just goes right into my carry-on.
Right.
It's perfect. There's no liquids in there. It's just perfect.
I have a little pill box for all those things. It's six compartments, and I know which each one says. Although I did once confuse the Xanax with a stomach medicine I had.
That's dangerous.
And I was looking, and I was literally in the airport going, one has the line and one doesn't. And I remember I told my brain which one it was. I'm looking them up online. Now they're all generic. You can't even find the right pill to match. So I said, well, I'll take my chances and see what happens in about a half hour.
Rolling the dice.
That's too
You
funny.
only live once. So.
That's true. You only
So
live
what do you
once.
two do about the return trip? Like, do you leave, because if you're overpacking, are you leaving space for stuff that you get there?
That is always a dicey question. You're totally right. Wow, you know what? I'm just thinking, do you remember like years ago we were at a happy hour, you and I and a bunch of other people, and we had this idea where you could just FedEx overnight your toiletries so that you didn't have to worry about packing that stuff. We even had like a name for this new business.
I remember that, yes.
It was like poo on the fly.
It's something like that. I don't remember. Yeah.
I would love that.
Right? So you don't have to take up
Wait, are they going
precious...
to pick it up at your house, though? That's what I would want to happen.
So no,
That's how
it's a
that business is gonna
kiosk
work.
Yeah, we were.
at the
we-
airport.
at the
Yeah, we imagined that we were like getting in bed with the airports,
Right.
and that they
So-
would have like little kiosks set
Like
up for us.
Starbucks has a kiosk at the airport. So you just stop by the FedEx kiosk. there's like a cardboard box that's
You might
pre-made.
be giving away a great idea right
I
now.
know.
You know that, right?
But you know what it is? Rather
would
than
be heaven
actually
to
like
me.
making
I
the
agree, me
business,
too.
we really
Right
just
before
want
the
it to
security
exist.
line, just throw it in and say, get it on.
That's right. Then you could check a large bag,
Right.
or not check. You could like take
small
on
bag,
a regular bag that you didn't need a large bag, but you couldn't toiletries.
I did a variation on that when I went to California. So I was staying with my brother, and like I didn't overpack, but I filled the case, and I didn't leave any room for anything that I would get there or whatever.
Right.
So we wound up like shipping it all back to my house
Right.
after the fact.
Exactly.
But this would make it so much more convenient, especially if you don't have anybody at
But
the
for like
destination.
$20, if FedEx
Yeah.
could just overnight it, and then when you land, yeah, you're not going to have what you maybe need, but it'll show up the very next morning,
Right.
right at your hotel, all your toiletries for the week, and then when you get back to the airport, overnight it, right? It's brilliant.
It's a brilliant idea because
Or even maybe the return trip wouldn't have to be an overnight. Like I could wait like 3 days for the extra bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be cheaper.
Or maybe not even like send it back, because sometimes like I won't even like bring the extra bottle of toothpaste that I brought with me back.
But do you carry on all that electronic things? Because now that I'm
Yeah, that's my
traveling, and
carry-on bag.
if I want to tape myself or bring some more stuff, I get so paranoid because if I check it in and it doesn't show up,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, then I don't have it for the event the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But then if you carry it on, it's heavy. It's a
No,
lot
like a lot of those things are deliberately pretty light, and
Those
I've got my pockets
tripods,
and
the
stuff.
tripods.
I'm not bringing a tripod.
I,
with me.
I have a compact tripod just to tape myself
Mm-hmm.
at certain things, and that just throws me over the edge because it sticks out of my bag just a little bit.
So I
But
feel
now
like
I pack it.
You
Now I
could
pack it.
definitely pack that and check it, because like let's just say that the tripod didn't make it in time. You could go to like any Best Buy in America and pick up a tripod. I want to say,
That's true.
yeah, or a
Yeah.
Walmart. I don't know.
That's
Like,
just another
annoying now.
stressful
Yeah.
event. You
It's
have to do.
annoying
guess.
now. I don't want to have to schlep myself.
Right.
Because then you're like, okay, do I call a cab? Do I have to Uber to whatever
Right.
Best Buy is the
Well, I
closest?
mean, in theory, it's gonna make it. Like,
You're
you're
right.
checking it, but like this is like in the
Well, that's
1
in
out of
theory.
100
If I
case of an
changed-
emergency.
If I changed that plane, my stuff would have made it 2 days later, they said.
2
Oh, really?
days.
That's why I did
Wow.
not change the plane. I said, I'm going to be home in 2 days. Just send
Yeah.
it home. Right.
God, that's annoying.
Crazy.
Well, that was
Anyway.
awesome. That was much longer of an icebreaker than we
I'm
normally
really
have. and
stressed
It was
about
great.
traveling.
I know.
Sometimes you
I'm
touch a
already starting to
nerve.
think about what I have to pack when I head out to California in a week.
I love it.
All right, so Caryn, tell us about SpectaBridge.
Okay, SpectaBridge, I am the CEO and owner, and I just opened it last year. And what it is basically, I tag myself as what I call the AHA Igniter. I ignite you into your AHA moments.
Sure.
But basically, my clientele I aim towards is executives, business owners, entrepreneurs who are really looking to transform and to propel themselves into the next level of productivity and profitability. But my approach is a little different.
Wait, how do I propel myself to the next
I'm gonna
level?
tell
Of
you.
okay, all right,
Here
I'm
it
skipping
goes.
the gun here.
So,
Okay.
good question, and I'm glad. See,
It sounded
You
like the
did
sort of thing
exactly
you were
what I
going to
needed
gloss
you to.
over, like,
That's you did exactly what I need to do.
right.
You asked a question with my introduction.
This is what I'm here for.
Look, you passed my first litmus
There we go.
test. So basically what I do it with what I call a business mindset. I'm not looking to tell businesses how to do things, how to change their processes. There's so many great consultants and innovators out there that can do that, technology and everything. But often what I see gets stuck with businesses, they reach a point where their mind sticks them, literally, their business mindset and how they're approaching things, methodologies. And I really tell them to look inwardly at their whys and really what they're doing in their business, what they're really truly passionate. Are they really going and igniting those visions and goals that they have? And I do it through coaching. I also speak about it on a leadership mastery approach. And I do workshops and webinars on it, depending on what the client's needs are. If they want to gear it towards a specific clientele, some clients have 4 managers. They're looking to create as leaders and not managers anymore. And that's a big part of the mindset approach with me. Do you want to be a leader or a manager? We need both in the world, but really, what are you looking to propel yourself as? And you have to really look at yourself inwardly and ask yourself a lot of hard questions to get there. So my goal is, I always say to everybody, if you're looking for perfection, do not hire me. Because there's no perfect. If you meet the perfect person, I want to interview them and make a lot of money off of them.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for progression and transformation to continually adapt and grow, I think it would be a good fit to hire me and be with me.
So you struck a nerve with me, and I'm so curious, the leader or manager, because there are some managers who like what they do. They don't necessarily want to be C-suite.
Yeah.
But there is the idea that you can be a leader within your...
And you don't have to be C-suite.
That's right. Within your management, middle manager, whatever kind of manager you are, you can be a leader.
Yes.
Which is something that I think people forget.
I don't know if they forget it, what I determine when I do my assessments with people. I think people, I have a lot of clients that truly believe they are leaders, especially when they're running their own business, they're entrepreneurs, they're mid-level executives, because I go from every range. But when you ask them some key questions of what they're doing with their day and time managing it, they step back, and this is what I say, I'm not going to tell you how to get to that aha moment. And it may not happen in the first session or even during my presentation, and often I'll get an email after and say, I had a client recently that, oh, no, I'm a thought processor, I envision, I'm a growth mindset, giving me all the terminology that every leader would give. Okay, you are. And I hung up the call and I said, just go back home tonight when you're laying in bed and you're thinking about your day, because I know that's what you do. Think of these 4 questions. And when he literally called me 2 days later and he said, aha, I am managing more than I am leading. Because we get...
Do people literally say the aha? Do they call you and they go, aha? Aha!
Okay, I'll cheat a little. Maybe I say aha.
All right.
Maybe I say
I just thought that was like an awkward way to start up the phone. Like, I'm going to call Kate and be like, aha! I'm sorry, go ahead.
I will say to them when they call me, go, now you're having your aha moment. That's
Fair.
what I say.
That's totally
And
fair.
then they'll joke and go, aha. Aha. So... Oh, now I lost track of what I was thinking.
I'm sorry.
That's all
So the
right.
guy calls you, he says, aha, I did this.
So my whole thing is really discovering what fires you up every day.
Yeah.
And your passion. And listen, we all have to do things that we do in our jobs we don't like to do. It's part of what it is. But if you really want to be a true leader and you look at those best leaders out there, they have a very visionary approach to their life, both professionally and personally. And that's another thing I really hone in on with clients and I speak about, is we often separate those professional personal goals. Okay, this is where I want to be in my career. Women do it especially, and they do it terribly. And it's getting better. It's getting better. And that, I speak to a woman market specifically on this. And then personal, but if you don't commingle those and really try to hone in on what is going to give you that passion and that fire in you, it's like a seesaw. You're going to be on the seesaw and it's not balancing, or I even say the spokes of a wheel of a bike. One comes off, and then you're stuck. You don't know why you're not transitioning. What's not transitioning me? Often clients will think it's all happening in their professional life. And when they really sit back and I assess them on what's going on their personal life, and I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to sit and marriage counsel you or tell you what to do in your personal life. But just what you're looking for, the balance in the professional, personal level. That's when everything starts to match for them and they start seeing really what they want to become. Get you thinking? Are you thinking about your life right now?
Well, yes, of course, always. But I was listening to this podcast, I think it was a TED Talk, and they were talking about the 3 aspects of life. You've got work, love, and play. And if all 3 of them, if you're paying attention to all 3 equally, then you're probably in good shape.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Right. And she was talking about different presidents who have failed at paying attention to one. And she was referencing Lyndon Johnson, who ended his career with huge amounts of money, huge status, no family. He died alone. Like, he... on his deathbed, basically was like, I really made a mistake. I can't believe I didn't spend enough time with my kids and their kids. Nobody visits me. Nobody has any interest in hanging out with me.
Right?
He had so much, I know. And I mean, his career was interesting. I'm not going to say that he was a good man or a terrible man. He was just a guy who was flawed like any other. But he didn't focus at all on the love part. He played a lot. He had a great life in terms of golf and travel.
Right.
And he worked hard.
And success.
Hugely successful. And that one, yeah. So
Because he probably didn't define what his true success level was at a personal and professional level. And I continually say it, and I also do, I speak to women also, and I call it self-love. I go the 3 selves: self-love, self-confidence, self-value. Especially, I can target it to men, and I do, but women especially resonate with it, because we also often think as women that we are very confident. So people may say to Kate, you are so confident. Oh my gosh, you have it together. You have this podcast. You have this great job. You're out networking all the time. I want to be you. And then you go home And you say, I'm resonating all this great self-confidence, but I'm really not happy where I am right now. What's really, what is pushing me? I'm not saying this is
I imagine like one of the two of us is gonna like burst out crying. You know?
Okay, I'm not saying this. I'm giving you an
No,
example.
I know.
And what I try to say often to women is, don't ignore that taking care of yourself component.
Yeah.
And when you gave that great story right now, he ignored one component of that self-love of what he wanted in his life in regard to his personal life.
Yeah.
So I have this like 4R approach to it. I call it, you have to rewire. That's rewiring your mindset. Mm-hmm. You have to regain what you're going to do, like start regaining what's going to push you to your next momentum. Mm-hmm. Then you have to rework it, and you have to come into me knowing you're going to change something. Because if you come into me and say, everything is working for me right now, don't hire me.
Right.
Because I'm never going to be able to rewire you if you think everything is working for you right now. But generally people come and see a coach or come to a speech or want to hear a new way to lead because they know they want to transform and lead something. And then I call it the last thing, resilience. I build resilience in you so that when you start going into that self-doubt or that rewiring starting to go off or that one spoke's flying off the bike that one day, how you can build your resilience back to get right back on.
Yeah.
With a long-term approach in your life. So, and they're saying now, I actually just got off a call this morning with a proposal to go to a major technology summit of major high-level executives. And they did a survey on their summit last year, and they said the one thing was lacking. All the processes were there, discussing the great innovative ways, the technologies, everything. But the one thing that was lacking, nobody was telling them how to mindset themselves as leaders.
Wow.
And that's when he caught me and he found my website and called me. And that is just, we're in a rat race now. The technology's great. There's a lot of great things. There's a lot of great innovations. But are we really stepping back and looking at the connection between that human element and all those processes, those technologies, and that continuous rat race that people say they feel they live in? They're results driven, but they're not really progressively actionable, driven objectives for long term.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody last week. I can't even remember who. Oh, it was a banker. And it occurred to us on that call that it has been 10 years since the Wall Street meltdown. Remember 2008, 2009? I can't believe it's been 10 years. And I look at what the world was like before that happened and what it is like now. And it is so interesting, the changes that occurred. I remember 2010 and 11, I noticed nobody was taking vacations in the summer anymore. Like everybody was freaked out.
Or even taking their vacation time for a
vacation
full year.
period, right,
They got
exactly.
4 weeks, and like, I got 2 weeks in.
That's right. Like
Right.
it used to be that summertime would slow down. It's not like that anymore.
Nope.
It's starting now, 10 years later, it's starting to get that way a little bit, but I still see and I feel people, this tension, this like visible almost tension in people trying to like just make it work.
Well,
Get
you
it
know,
in.
you say that, and that's great, and it's starting to get recognized because when I was out in San Francisco last fall at a conference, and it was the Salesforce Summit, it's huge. If you're in technology, it's the biggest thing. It takes over San Francisco in a week. It's amazing. And I went to smaller conferences out of that. And then I went to go visit my friend who lives out there right outside of some of the wineries. I just had a day off. I said, let's go off. Her husband works out there. He got transferred from here. So they had a whole different mindset going out to California. He works for his job, major pharmaceutical tech company. But they give, and she said it's very common out here. I don't know if they do it every year or every other year. 6 weeks, you're out of the office.
Wow.
No, you cannot communicate. You have to give everything off for 6 weeks.
Mandatory?
Mandatory. And he goes and he takes 6 weeks in the summer.
In a row?
Consecutively?
In
Yeah.
a row. Every other year he does it. And I mean, she said it's shutdown mode. He is not, they shut him off from all of his stuff professionally. They tell him not to call the office. It'll be managed.
Is
no
it a
emergencies.
US company or is it a European company? Because that
No,
sounds
it's a
very
US-based
European.
it's a US, but it's very common out there. She said a lot of the Silicon Valley companies do this.
You know,
maybe
it's-
not in a 6-week increment, but they do believe that you need time off to what I call rewire and
Yeah.
reset your mind. And he comes back so charged and rejuvenated. and connected, because he's connected now on a personal level.
Yeah.
He's traveling with his family. He said, oh, one year I was just doing college visits all summer. I went up and across the country literally 4 times, but it was better than being in work. But at least he goes, I got to be in a car and not be on my phone and talk to my kids and see what they wanted. And he said, I get that whole mindset thing you're saying, because you don't do it when you're in that grind every day.
You don't.
And you get lost in it.
Yeah.
And then my leadership capabilities diminish because I'm looking to get the results. Everybody wants the results, the quarterly projections. Everybody's wanting, why are we losing the clients? Why aren't we regaining more clients? Oh, this competitor's coming in. We have to have the Amazon experience for all our clients and, duplicate that. And he said, then we lose that vision out there. And he said it's one of the best things his company could do for him.
It's interesting. Amazing. Like, we program our kids from a very early age all the way up until we're like 25 to take like a pretty long break every summer.
Right.
Like you go through school, you hit the summer break.
Do we really do that anymore?
I mean, don't you take
I thought I did, and I think I balanced it with my kids, but probably a lot of people go to camps.
Okay.
That's very regular. You have working
people. But it's
people.
different from like the day-to-day, all right, you're doing like schoolwork.
Yes.
And like camp to me sounds like a lot more fun, than like doing algebra all day.
But when you get to the high school level, I mean, I didn't do this with my kids. They were just going to fun camps and sport camps. A lot of them go to like academic camps in the summer. Chris runs a lot of them, American U. They go to leadership conferences. Everybody's trying to get that in for those college applications, get those scholarship money. Man. It's getting a little crazy even for the kids. They feel that pressure.
But even still, it's different. Like, it's different from your day-to-day.
Yes,
like, you're going out, you're doing something, you're meeting new people. We train ourselves to like have that kind of like, okay, for about a month or two, we're going to do something different. And then like we hit like 23, and then we're just like, no, we're going to do 52 weeks a year for the next 50 years, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's really bleak.
You guys are younger than me, but I can remember when I was young, some of my best memories was being bored.
Yeah.
And I say that in such a positive sense because I look at my children and I don't know if they understand what being bored is, because even if they're home, and I don't know, do you have children? I think
she's small.
Okay, she's small. So you got time. It's a girl. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy these moments.
I love the look. You can't see it if you're listening to this on iTunes.
That.
The look on her face just now was like such pity. Like, oh man.
I have 2 boys, and God gave me the girl last for a reason. She's great. Literally, she's phenomenal. I'm very proud of her.
She's 18 months, so yeah, we got time.
I have 17 years of age. But my point being is, I watch my kids when they're in the house, and they say, oh, I'm bored. Are you really bored? They're always on a computer.
Yeah.
They're looking something up. They're always looking. My oldest son loves podcasts, reading online, listening to opinions, watching political shows. My daughter, Snapchat, Instagram. I mean, if she'll sit by the TV and not even fully watch and engage the show with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they really truly have that sense of boredom, and that worries me when they go in to their professional lives eventually, because they're always on that go mode, and they're going to burn. I worry about that. Like, do they know how to step it down a little bit? I'm going to be very curious to see how that younger generation comes out. I guess I'm going to experience it with my children.
Right.
So.
It's almost like that third component, work, love, and play. The play part has sort of diminished in our lives. I can remember being little and in the summertime.
Catching fireflies.
Well, yeah, but like, so we didn't, I grew up, lower middle class. We didn't have a lot of money. And so my mom sent us to my grandmother's house. There wasn't a daycare. There wasn't, because that was really expensive. And my grandma lived really close. And I can remember saying to my grandma, I'm so bored. And she'd be like, read a book. Like, you do not complain to me about you're bored. Go outside, find something to do, entertain yourself. This is life. Calm down.
I was with a speaker. I do a class in speaking and just always trying to improve. And the speaker was up there, and she was really good. And she had a story. She was a little bit older than me, of remembering being with her grandparents every summer. She went up to a Pocono home. That's where her parents sent her. And what she thought was boredom was actually the most brilliant things that happened in her life.
Yes.
She watched honeysuckles come up.
Yes.
She can remember the sounds of everything around her. She remembers just really connecting with her grandparents at such a level, and understanding how they were brought up and how they were immigrated into the country.
That's right. telling stories, listening to them.
Stories.
Yeah.
Where has, like, we listen to it when we go to conferences and presentations, and I do this for a living. But where do we do this at a real personal level?
We don't.
All the time? I wonder that. There's always a good story to tell, and I love hearing a story, but I look at my children and I say, are they really great storytellers? Like, what are they going to tell their story about?
Oh man, that time the power went out in the juice. I lost all the juice in my. I had to charge my phone in my car. I had to turn it on, and I wasted all this gas.
I wasn't invited to this event. Did you see on Instagram? They're all there, and I'm not.
I don't know. I guess it's interesting. Like, I kind of started abandoning my phone while I was home because, like, I noticed, like you say, like, you're always going even though you're, like, on the phone. I was kind of finding that I was bored on the phone because, like, you know, the entire knowledge base of the human race is accessible through this phone, and I'm visiting the same, like, 8-9 websites over and over
Watching
again.
cat videos.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what am I really getting out of this? You know? And, you know, even with the kid, like, I don't want her, like, seeing me on it all the time, but yeah, like.
So probably by the time she's 5, she'll have a phone? No, I'm just joking.
God.
I mean,
everything is a phone to her. She'll pick up this and she'll be like, hello?
My son was freshman year, my second one was 7th grade, and my daughter was 5th, 6th. It just kept
getting younger
and younger. It's crazy.
She carries it around, like, she'll take one of ours and she'll carry it around talking to people. Like, if somebody calls, forget it. It's not for us. Like, she has to take it, so. Yeah, I don't know how to stop it at this point.
I mean, and if you think about it, everything you can do is on the phone. I read on the phone now. I have the Kindle on the phone. I rarely buy a book. But that is not even good for me, because what do I do when I'm at the airport? I open the phone and I start reading them. Bleep, bleep. Things start coming through, and I distract myself from the story or whatever I'm reading about. And I lose that whole creativity, critical thinking process I may be in for my job at the moment. And that is a big thing I coach, where are your distractions in your day.
Yeah.
That's why I picked up the independent
when we
Kindle.
had that speaker at the last event. She honed in on every distraction and how she became average at everything.
Yeah.
And that really ruminated with me because I believe you don't have to be an expert at everything, but I believe you really want to have a passion for something and really drive towards it and improve it. And she literally said her list was, she was average to everybody. And she just was
terrible.
Not
she said, I'm a terrible mom, I'm a terrible friend, I'm a terrible sister.
I was trying to be nice.
No, she was really hard on herself. I think you and I would have thought that, you know, this is how I am. She's probably average. But she was really hard on herself. She totally inspired me.
Yes.
One of the things that I felt distracted by is that notification, that noise, and the icon that pops up when another email comes in.
Yes.
I listened to her talk, and I came back to work.
And she went back to it, and she kept distracting herself.
That's right.
And then she wasn't productive in her day.
That's right. I turned it off. I was like, no more noise, no more icon. I'm going to focus on a task, and when I finish that task, then I will check for more email. If anything is truly an emergency, someone will call me.
So one coaching tip I give to a lot of my clients is, and whether you're just not, you don't have to be a leader, a manager, you could just be starting your new job. I say this to my children. You should be taking 15 minutes a day and put a block time, like she talked about, in your day, even during your work day. And if somebody's not supporting this in your day, question that then. And do one thing that you want to learn in that day. So maybe it's a new technology, something new, a software program. Maybe you want to learn, you're going to be presenting in 2 weeks, you want to learn what not to do on stage, and you're going to read an article about that. Whatever it is, 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, give yourself. How much time is that really?
Nothing.
1
hour,
and 15
minutes.
Yeah. Okay, we're probably spending 15 hours looking at our phones. And turn off all your phones, all your devices, everything. Don't look at Instagram or anything. Figure out what it's going to be. Pull up the website if you're going to read something, and that's the only thing you're going to hone in on. And just do it. I also found that the distractions, when I went out to the conference in September, I went in, it was a networking event. The first hour was pure networking and getting to know everybody. I walked into the breakfast room, and this is when it really resonated with me. And the age group was, you had a lot of Silicon Valley there, probably 30 to 45, really high-tech, brilliant people. Like, I cannot even think like them. They process so fast. Everybody was sitting at the tables. No one was talking. Everybody was on their phone, on their computers. No one. And I went to the busiest table, and I drew up a chair, and I threw my business card out, and I said, hey, everybody throw a business card out and give me your one selling statement why I would hire you today at this conference. And they all started laughing. They're like, this is great. And they all closed everything down, and everybody had a great hour discussion and networking.
Yeah.
And an individual came up to me afterwards and said, wow, is this what networking is really about? I said,
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, kind of. I'm from New York.
Probably not checking your email. That's a very minimum.
What? Yeah, so I just think we're losing a lot of that perspective now, and that's where a lot of leaders are realizing that they're not getting back into that mindset to get them to really truly be thought progression leaders that they want to be.
All right, I think we're going to take a break. We're going to pause for a minute.
Great.
And then we'll be back with Awful or Awesome.
Cool.
And we're back, and it is now time to play my favorite game, Awful or Awesome. I'm going to name 3 things in quick succession, and we each have to decide whether they are awful or awesome and be prepared to defend your answers. Are you ready? Wow, that was kind of aggressive.
What? Show it the thumbs up.
All I saw was a fist coming out.
Boom.
Right.
Punched by kindness. Punched by positivity. Get the alliteration.
See, it's working. Positive mindset.
Yes.
Right?
You go, Vinny.
Love it. All right, so first up is airport security. So we talked ever so slightly about this in the last half, in the first half. Overpacking, underpacking, shipping our toiletries and all that. But airport security, awful or awesome?
Awful-ish.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so we need it.
Right, obviously.
Necessary evil, let's say, but there's a lot of room for improvement there.
Yeah, I always feel like cattle. I always feel like just part of the cattle getting pushed through and moved to the next place. And shoes off, belt off. Oh, God, it's a nightmare. I recently upgraded to the TSA pre-check.
I just did too. My
my
first trip
God.
in that.
It was
to go to California.
amazing.
It was an easy process.
So easy.
People think it's such a difficult process,
It's
but
not.
I had it in literally 24 hours. They emailed me my number.
Yeah, me too. It was unbelievable. What?
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, what's involved in the TSA pre-check?
You have to fill out an online application, and then you have to go and basically be fingerprinted. They ask you a couple
A lot
questions.
of local places to do it.
Yes, there's a huge amount of local places that do it. It costs $85, but
5 years or 3 years?
it's good for 5 years. Yeah, and I just got shout out to United Airlines. I just got a United Chase card, so they didn't charge me at all. It was just refunded automatically.
I think you just put the number every time you do your
Yeah.
boarding pass. There's a place there, and it's on your pass, and they just say, go to that special nice line.
Right. So then you
The
get
angels are singing to you. Go.
You're always in group 2. You get to get on
Right.
first. It's lovely, and you get the special TSA pre-check line where you don't have to take off your shoes or your belt, which I didn't know. My first trip was to Florida under this new TSA pre-check, and here I am taking off my belt, taking off my shoes, and the people around me are not, and I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So the line is shorter, and you don't have to take everything
How
off?
much time do you think it cut off your trip?
Oh my God,
in
half
the
an hour?
airport?
Half
okay,
an hour.
I'm going to budget that when I go, because this is
Yeah.
going to be my first experience
It was
when I go to California.
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the last times that I went to Florida, I was with my mom and my brother. And my mom somehow got pulled aside as you're not a security threat. And they led her through. And my brother and I are standing there
We're with her.
yeah. wait. We'll put that aside. What is it about her that makes her not a security threat, but we're dangerous people? And how do you just arbitrarily decide that?
But that's my question.
Yeah.
If I have to say awful, what I don't like, where I don't understand, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I could be at one airport and it's flying through TSA, and they're not even asking me to take off anything. They're not even asking me to go through anything. They're just opening my bag, asking me for my toilet, and then through. And then other airports, it's practically strip and get through. And I don't understand why there's such differentiation between it all.
Yeah, I don't.
If anybody has an answer, I'd like to know, because I'm at major airports. I'm not saying this is a small airport, this is a big airport. And where do you differentiate where anything's going to happen?
Right.
I mean, because is this a safer city and this is not? We're coming out of a major metropolitan hub here.
Yep.
And I go into, LA was very easy last time I went. I literally just went right through it. Everybody's told me it was going to be a nightmare. And then Newark was difficult, but then Newark was easy the second time around, and Philly was difficult. So I don't understand.
I wonder
Is
if
it
it's
just
when
who
you
you're
go.
hitting that day, or when you're flying, or?
I think it must be when. Airports are busier at certain times of days of the week and different times of days or different times of the day. And maybe you just hit it in the right time slot.
You
I
might
don't
be
know.
right.
And it kind of makes you wonder if like cutting the corners is good for you or not. But like,
Right. I started booking mid-afternoon flights, and that meant that I was missing all the commuters.
Yes.
Like, I would get there at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. All of the commuters were gone.
Yep.
Easy peasy, no problem at all. Whereas it used to be like when I would book a 9 a.m. flight just so that I could get there sooner,
Right.
it would be a nightmare. It would just be lines and lines of people.
Or fly at 7 in the morning. Like if you're going to the Caribbean or
Right.
something, nobody's at the airport yet.
Yep. I
You
also
can fly,
love
you
the...
get right into parking, go, and nobody's around. Everybody's tired. Everything's quiet.
Same with the red eye. I love the red eye.
I have not done a red eye. I considered that when I went out to California when I'm going in a couple weeks, but I don't think I'm going to survive that.
It's not bad. I've only ever done it on like an overseas, Ireland
Okay.
and Japan. I did it, and it was great both times. The service was great. It was quiet. It was easy to get through security.
I did that when I used to travel. I went to Belgium that way. And it was funny. My VP says, we get on the plane. He's like, we're in business class. My first time ever flying. I was young. I'm like, oh my gosh, we get chocolates. Like, I'm washing my hands. The stewardess are like so nice to me.
Right?
Like, I'm special. They know my name. And he traveled all the time. And he literally said, don't talk to me. And no, when we get off this plane at 7 a.m. Belgium time, we are in meetings. Like basically the warning was, don't spend all night up watching movies and doing whatever you want to do. Sleep. And
supposed
he
to.
literally was out. He passed on everything. He said that's how he flies.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it though. It was I struggled when I got there, but it was just so much fun being in business class. I was like, wait, do I get more of those Belgian chocolates? Thank you. And I was traveling with a friend that never traveled like this, and we were maybe 24, 25.
Sure.
Like, this is living the high life. This is our goal.
I know, right?
We're important going to this meeting.
I like it. All right, so I think we're all basically awful-ish, but mostly awesome.
Awful-ish,
Like, we're
sure.
glad that it exists, but it could
Yes.
be better. Room for improvement.
Sure.
All right, Jersey Shore, the television show. Now, I know you love the Jersey Shore.
I own a house down the Jersey Shore. I lived and breathed down the Jersey Shore. My parents owned a house for years. I know the coast from about Asbury down to Long Beach Island, and then the more southern part. I know it, but I'm not great at it because I have never really stayed there.
Okay, but the television show, Jersey Shore.
So I'm a little guilty. I do enjoy the show. Now, what I don't enjoy about the show, I do enjoy the show, but I don't think it shows authentically what the Jersey Shore is all about.
Right.
It's one portion of the Jersey Shore, and it's their lives down there. And I think, if I'm correct, not all of them are from Jersey.
No.
That is
So,
true.
Most of them are from
I
New
don't,
York, yeah.
but
That's true.
I find it when I travel anywhere outside the eastern region, people hear my accent. Well, they claim I have an accent. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you from the New York City, Jersey area? I go, yes, I'm from Jersey. Oh my gosh, Snooki. And it's like they think everything in Jersey represents that show.
I know.
So that irritates me to some ability to say, no, my home is not there. I live on this little thing called Long Beach Island, and it's a whole different way of life down there. And yes, we do have boardwalks, but that's not the only boardwalk we have.
And there's a boardwalk, and then there's boardwalk.
Well, that's what I left. So when I was out in California, I was staying in Santa Monica on business.
Oh, nice.
And I was out talking. People were just so intrigued with my accent. They wanted to know where I was from. That starts the conversation. I do not have an accent, everyone.
People are like asking you to say, sir, we're like, say
I'm a
tree again.
speaker.
Do it.
I am not supposed to have an accent. Now I embrace it. Now when I go out to conferences out
Yes.
there, I say, I speak fast. I'm from Jersey. Welcome.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, we have a great boardwalk. Go out to the pier in Santa Monica, and it is beautiful, and it is fun. I go, no, we kick butt at boardwalks in Jersey.
Yeah.
You can go up and down that Jersey coast and find 3 or 4 decent boardwalks. And even though we got wiped out, unfortunately, with Sandy.
Yeah.
Stronger than the
rebuilt.
storm, we rebuilt. Yeah.
We rebuilt. Everybody rebuilt. And there's
Yeah.
nothing like the boardwalk at the Jersey Shore. Nothing like the smell of those foods.
Yeah, the fried sugar and
Hearing
the ice
the little
cream.
dings of the game, the rides, the blinking of the lights at night. And, you know, my kids always enjoyed it. I can remember, and they don't have it anymore, going down to Asbury when I was a child. Every Easter, we didn't do Easter traditionally. We'd go down to go to Mass. My mother's like, I'm not doing anything. We're not with any family this time. We're going down to Asbury. And I'd go in that indoor carousel they used to have then.
Uh-huh.
And Wonder Bar, I remember.
Wonder Bar, yep.
And it was big back then. They had rides and
Yeah.
everything. And Stone Pony's still there, though.
Yeah, it is. And Asbury's really come back.
Oh, that's where I'm going for my conference. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a couple bad years, but they have come back strong.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
It's a
town.
whole new area. And my kids have friends that go to Monmouth University. That's where they go hang out and go out. It's a very transient, now bars and restaurants and nice.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm imagining Tilly the Clown, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I was just now trying to think of his name, Tilly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was laughing because there was a band there a few weeks ago. She was Stevie Nicks or Fleetwood Mac. And last minute I said, oh, let's just go down there. This would be fun, but we didn't end up doing it. I go, oh my gosh, it's at the Wonder Bar. That Wonder Bar, the clown face is still sitting on that Wonder Bar.
Yeah.
You can't get those iconic things in
very
other
nostalgic.
places. You go down to Wildwood, it's still that old hotels. You ever stay in Wildwood?
Yeah.
It's like you're down in retro
Oh my
1960s
gosh.
hotels. Nobody's changing anything.
No.
And when you bring your children, when you bring your daughter someday, she'll be like, what is this?
And they each have a different theme. There's
All
like a
different
Wild West
themes.
motel and there's a Sea Breeze motel. They're all different
And
themes.
Cape
It's so
May
funny.
just has a different feel when you
Yeah.
go there and you walk around. I mean, I'm off Long Beach Island, and even the little towns there all have their different feel to it. Seaside has its own feel. Point Pleasant, Spring
True.
Lake. It's just, there's nothing like the Jersey Shore.
But speaking of
Jersey girl.
Seaside, Snooki.
Yeah.
So you said you kind of liked the show. Tell us what you liked about it. What drew you to it?
Okay, have you followed the adult version of the show where they're actually adults and have children and their wives now? They just filmed.
Yeah. Superficially. I didn't watch it, but.
Okay, well, I guilt-ridden taped and watched it. That's my just downtime of an hour.
That's awesome.
Well, my daughter started watching it again.
Sure.
And then I snuck in and guilty just watched it with her. But I really like how, I know they've transitioned into adults and just how, but still they go back to their kid ways when they go and do these houses. The houses are a lot nicer.
Oh, really?
I think they only stayed in the rental one night out of this whole thing. They went to Las Vegas. They went to Atlantic City. They rented, I think, in Marble, not even by the beach, because literally they went to the house, like, where's the beach?
Yeah, and I was going to say, not for
Wholesale,
lack of
maybe?
money either, because the house that they stayed in, I want to say, in the original show, if you were going to rent
Still
that now,
there.
it is
Yeah.
expensive. One of my friends wanted to rent that, and, like, it was a lot of money.
Really?
Still there, yeah.
Well, because now, like, the notoriety with the show, you know, like, you want to be in the
Yeah.
place where Snooki did whatever, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an hour of downtime for me in my mind. That's what I call
Is it an hour-long show?
I don't know.
I think it is, yeah. I think it is an hour. Well, maybe not with all the commercials that they put on it and everything.
That would make sense. Most
So
reality
it's
shows.
interesting. I mean, they all have interesting lives now. I mean, one of them's going to jail. I mean, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. he
Which
had
one's going to jail?
Tax evasion. Mike.
It's not what I
He's
thought
in
it would
Long
be.
Branch. I don't think he's in jail yet, though, because he's still on things. I don't know what's going on with that, but I know he was found guilty. I did read that.
Wow.
And so he's having another baby.
Uh,
I think one of them's divorcing. I'm not sure which one.
yeah, Ronnie.
Ronnie's having.
So that's the funny
Ronnie
thing.
just
Like
has not
my
changed
phone,
a bit.
my phone, you know, like I go into Google and it presents all these stories
Right.
for me that it thinks I want to read, and I have to be really careful with the Jersey Shore ones because, like, you know, they'll say something like, "Oh, Ronnie Ortiz Magro going to
Right.
jail," and I'll want to click it because I'm like, all right, so what's up with that? But I know that if I do it, Google's going to be like, oh, let me introduce the floodgate
Right.
of, like, here's what's going on with JWoww and here's what's
Right.
going on with Snooki. So I'm just
JWoww.
like, I have
That's the
to
one
let
I
it go.
couldn't think of the name. I couldn't think of her name, JWoww.
Well.
That's so funny.
Well, Paulie's a DJ.
Yeah.
He DJs down in Atlantic City and Vegas. I've had friends that have seen him at events.
Oh my goodness.
He's got to be the one that's come out of this with, like, the best setup for a career. Because if you think about it, like, for that audience, you know, he's now, like, the go-to DJ, let's say.
And what's interesting with him, so I guess they took a few years off and transitioned in their adulthood. Some of them had off shows. I think, I didn't watch them.
Well,
I
Mike
think
was on a
JWoww
bunch of cooking
had a
shows.
show.
Yeah.
Mike was on cooking shows. So when they come back, they're showing Paulie. He's talking about how he has a child and he's not married, and he's talking to Ronnie how he's managing it. Like, where did I miss that? He had a child. Did he marry? Did he get divorced? Where have I been? All I know is that you DJ around the world. Like, it was interesting to hear where they've all landed, and how some have moved along and some not. But
Yeah.
it's an iconic thing, I guess, with Jersey now. That's, you know, unfortunately, it's what everybody thinks the Jersey Shore is about. They always say, "Are you in Seaside?" When I say I have a Jersey, no,
Right.
and nothing wrong with Seaside. I have friends that have beautiful homes in Seaside, and they're gorgeous. But they just think
And
that's what Jersey's all about.
Right. So that's why I would come down on awful, because I feel like for people who live in Wyoming, if they catch an episode of Jersey Shore, they're going to be like, wow, I don't ever need to visit New Jersey.
Right.
Like, that's just not something that I need to do. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, I feel like it's not just Jersey Shore that does that, though. Like, every movie or TV show I've ever seen that was based out of New Jersey presents us in some kind of a negative way. We're either the mob or we're like Jersey Shore.
Why we present it is we have one of the top 4 counties of richest, beautiful, Somerset County. Why doesn't anybody present us like that?
Somebody needs to make a show showing the positivity of New Jersey, yeah.
What about
all
Clerks?
the great
Clerks was not a super positive movie, Kate.
No, you're right, but it wasn't necessarily one of those two.
So for those of you who haven't seen Clerks, 2 drug dealers, sit outside of a convenience store and harass everybody that comes in and out, while the people who work there harass everyone who comes in and out.
Sopranos doesn't show, but there's a lot of famous, good people that have come out of Jersey and have had a lot of success.
Yeah.
For a little state, we have a lot going on.
It's true. It's absolutely
true. We have
true.
a lot, and like through the years, it's just not recently.
No.
Like you Frank Sinatra, all that.
Ray Liotta, Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick.
I think Halsey came out of it. She's a new singer. Where did Lady Gaga? Is she from Jersey?
She is. I
think she is.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's not New Jersey, it's the Philadelphia area, but I do want to say New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a lot for a small state. We pack it with a punch.
We do. We absolutely
have a lot
do.
going on. Where can you be in the country where you're an hour in the mountains, an hour at the beach, an hour at another major city, Philadelphia?
I'm telling you, it's the reason why I live here.
3 major airports around you. And you're at the financial center of the world in New York City, and you're at one of the biggest cities in the world. Just a hop, skip, and a jump with the train ride wherever you are in Jersey.
I moved to New Jersey on a whim when I was 20 years old, I think, and I stayed because I could not believe how much was in such close proximity. I could not believe it.
Why did you pick Jersey?
I was going to say Dart on the map.
On a whim, yeah.
What's Jersey?
I was in college. My parents said that they would pay for the first 3 years of college and that I had to figure out a way to cover the 4th year. And so midway through my 3rd year, I started to think, like, what am I going to do for money next year? I need to figure this out. And for some reason that I can't remember, student loans were not, they wouldn't work. So I had just met this girl who'd been a nanny in New York City for a year. And I was like, well, I've been babysitting since I'm 12 years old. I could do that. I could absolutely do that.
You probably made a killing nannying.
I did okay.
Right.
I did okay.
Yeah.
I found a live-in gig with a couple in Maplewood. And Maplewood is a beautiful little downtown. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved New Jersey. I loved being able to go into the city whenever I wanted.
I'm proud to say I'm born and bred in New Jersey, and I will never deny that. Despite
there's no reason to
reputation
deny.
we get because they look at the Sopranos and Jersey Shore. I mean, it's a beautiful state. There's beautiful features, and I love that you can drive in an hour and see something completely different. You can get into the city, you can go to the beach. Like I said, you can go to the Poconos, you can go to Philadelphia.
It's true. Upstate New York, Boston.
And there's a lot of business here and enterprise and people, and they say Silicon Valley was the hot thing. All those companies are now moving into the New York City area. And I think you're going to see a regeneration of technology coming this way, and it's going to become just as big as our financial markets and pharmaceuticals. We're the pharmaceutical hub too.
Yep.
That's what everybody's saying. You're from Jersey. Oh, do your husband or your wife or somebody work for a pharmaceutical company? Especially if you live in Central Jersey, because you're surrounded by them.
It's true. All right, last one: fashionable lateness. When somebody is a little bit late and they're just like, oh, no big deal.
I guess it depends on what it is. Like, what are you being fashionably late for? Like, if it's a meeting at work, then, that's... You can't. Like...
No.
But, like, if you're hosting a party or something and somebody comes, like, 20, 30 minutes late, I'm...
No, I'm thinking, like, coffee with a friend. So if you're, like, at Starbucks waiting for your friend to show up and she's like 10, 15, no, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Like, if it's a big gathering of people, then you almost want to miss, like, the first 20 minutes or so where people are, like, awkwardly getting there and whatever, and, it's one-on-one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if it's one-on-one, then, yeah, you got to be on time.
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree. You?
Awful.
Yeah.
My thing with being late, and now with the technology and everything we have now,
yes.
It's so easy just to text, I'm running late. Because that gives me a heads up, especially if I'm meeting somebody. Yep. Oh, I got a few more minutes. I'll stop in a store before I go into Starbucks. Or I don't have to run down to that meeting right away, and I can grab that last phone call.
Answer that last email.
I just feel like, why is your time so much more important than my time?
Yeah.
That is just my philosophy. So, yes, we become late. We have kids. I have kids. Kids will make you late.
Yeah.
Your jobs, you might not get the train on time. The events happen in life, let's face it. But with the technology we have now, just throw a casual text out and say, hey, I'm running late because of this, or I'm sorry, I'm running late. You don't even have to give me an excuse. I'm running late. You know me,
Just a heads up.
Just a heads up. And then I know how I can dictate those 15 minutes, half-hour time that instead of me waiting there awkwardly for you wherever I am. That's just my philosophy.
Totally agree.
I'm generally late because I'm lost.
Yeah.
And I'm texting you I'm lost. This has brought me to a place I don't want to be.
Yeah.
Or an event happens, or there's something uncontrollable going on at the moment.
Right.
So.
But just heads up.
Just a heads up.
It's so easy.
It's so. And I have friends who are always late. They are late for everything. I just don't even know how they function, and they're like late for everybody. You can't even take it personally and let your ego keep your ego in check with it. They're just late people, but I've learned to manage them. I always put them up 15, 20 minutes ahead. They're like, well, why is that party starting at 7:45?
Right. Right. It kills me how when they show up, they're just not even troubled by it, too.
No.
It is amazing to me that they have...
But they get troubled if you're late for them sometimes.
Right?
I don't like the double standard.
Right. I had a friend who got upset if we would tell him the wrong time. He would get upset about that. But I once had a friend who was in my living room on his phone saying to someone, yeah, no, I'm parking right now. I'll be there in like 10 minutes.
Right.
I'm just parking. And I'm like, you liar. You can't, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're in my living room. You can't lie to people like that. That's crazy. Have you lied to me like that? And he was like, yeah.
And if you're going to be late, just be honest about it.
Yeah, just be honest.
Just be honest, and I'll let it go. When you start creating this story, then I'm going to find interest in the story and try to catch the story a little bit.
Totally.
Just be honest why you're late or what's going on. You know, I love the friend or a business associate or a client who just says to me, okay, we have a call at 2.
Right.
Because especially in my business, I schedule calls. So if you're going to pay for an hour with me, I want you to get your full hour. But I try not to schedule back to back and give the 15-minute momentum in between because I need to reset myself. But sometimes it doesn't work that way because the client needs their time and I'm working for the client. And they're like, well, I need my last 15 minutes. I always give it to them in another way, another session. But they don't understand that this is a business, you know, and I have to set the boundaries to that. So that's why I have a little issue with lateness.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's awful. All right, I think that's the game.
That's the game. So,
Great.
Yeah, Caryn, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Okay, so this is interesting that you asked this because in one of my presentations, I have people step back in the audience and go back 10, 15 years ago. And what would you say to yourself now and what worked and didn't? So I would say my biggest thing would be that I tell everybody, live fearlessly and don't worry about failure. I think when I was
younger... Did you say furiously or fearlessly?
Did I say furiously? Sorry. No.
Live furiously.
Fearlessly.
No, I've got the headphones on, so yeah.
Okay, cut that. Fearlessly.
Okay.
And don't worry about the failure that might come with that. Because when I look back at my younger age, I think I was very motivated to succeed, and I had my goals and my visions. But I didn't do it, I did it conservatively. Like what was right, following the norm, the outward, what everybody else was doing. I was working, one of my first jobs was working down on Wall Street, and I was just following that norm, going on and off, you know, every day. And I can even remember looking back and saying, is this really what I want? Is this really, oh, maybe I should take that job. Maybe I should go for that promotion. Oh, but this is secure and it pays for my apartment. And I have my nice little social life in the city now. And this is working for me. And I just say, go for it. Go for it. And you're going to fail. Yeah. Things are going to happen. I tell all my clients, you can be the highest leader up there. They all have the best failure stories, how they got there. And they continually have failure stories. They learn and grow. And that's what I would say, the younger me, I wish. I was afraid of failure, and I was afraid. I was afraid, plain and simple. Not afraid of everything, but I was afraid of a lot.
I definitely think that will resonate with a lot of women in particular, because I think that women in particular are driven by fear. Our decisions are made based on fear a lot of the time.
And then that leads to self-doubt.
That's right.
And then we create this constant weird thought process in our mind, which is that mindset I talk about. And then we don't empower ourselves to an action. Men will And Vinny, you can say if you're like this or not. I would like to hear your opinion.
I would love
Let's
to
do
know.
it.
All right, here we go. Let's put me on the spot.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I find when I work with male clients is what I call they have a really great ego, and they sometimes don't know how to keep it in check, but most of the time they do, and they do it without fear and without failure. They'll accept the consequence of the failure and move on. Mm-hmm. They believe action changes things, and if they get in that mode of action changes things, they have less complacency in their life. Women will step back and overanalyze it.
Yeah.
And we go into what I call analysis paralysis.
Yes.
What if I did this? What if I interviewed differently? What if I, why are my friends including me in that event that I'm seeing up on Instagram? And we overanalyze, and then we put ourselves, oh, I don't want to fail, and we step back into our comfort zones. Men, I think, will get out of their comfort zones a little bit quicker. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, yeah, there are differences between men and women, but we're not immune to fear, and we're not immune to, like,
but will you take
insecurity.
The risk?
I'd like to say yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think when it comes to interviewing for a job, a man would look at a job description and say, I hit like 75% of this. I'm going for it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you just said this.
Right? And women will look at it and be like, oh God, I'm only at 75%. I can't possibly
Okay, I have a
interview for
story and a statistic for you. Last fall, I read this statistic. This will hit right on the difference between a male and female interviewing. So the statistic said the woman will not interview for the job or go for the promotion unless she feels she's 80 to 90% qualified with the skill set.
Right.
A male will go for the same job 40 to 50% qualified.
No way. 40 to 50%.
So I let that resonate with me. I put it in the back of my book. I write down little jots of things to keep me going. I let it go. I had a client who I coach, and he was looking to hire a new position. Long story short, that we had coached through all that to get him to that place. He puts the position out. He goes, okay, I have a very technical aspect to it. Nothing gender specific, so let me just say that. Nothing gender specific at all. And he wanted that technical aspect to be about 50% of the job, and then the leadership and the decision-making, concisiveness to be the other 50, because that's where he was lacking. He calls me 2 weeks later, says, you have 5 minutes? I'm really bewildered. I need help here. We did you do something wrong on the job description? What did we do? So what's going on? He says, I have over 90% of what's applying are men. I'm doing phone interviews, like you said. They are only 30 to 40% qualified for the skill set, the technical aspect, but boy, are they nailing it, why I should hire them and how they're going to add value. I only had 2 women apply for the position. The first woman came in and said in an email, oh, I'm going to decline on this phone call because I don't think I have that technical aspect you're looking for. The second woman came in, she interviewed, he said she nailed everything. She had the technical, she had the leadership, the decisiveness, everything I was looking for to build efficiency in my organization. I literally hung up the phone, Caryn, gathered everybody who needed to second interview her and said, we're doing this, we're going to lose her. Called her back, and she declined the interview because she felt she didn't have this skill set. So he calls me, what do I do? I said, okay, 1 of 2 things are happening here. She doesn't want the job, and she's just being nice.
Right.
And that's her nice way of doing it. Or 2, she is, and I gave him the statistic. She's falling under the statistic. So I recoached him on how to formulate his discussion with her. Needless to say, he hired her. She's built efficiencies beyond belief. She put a whole new system in, and he's had 30% reduction of his time now to go out and lead generate, which has built 20% profitability in his business because of hiring her. Wow. And if he didn't make that phone call and convince her, because this is what I go down to, she had the confidence in that interview, but she had that self-doubt and that self-love lacked in her.
Yeah.
And he just honed him back. I just gave him a few techniques to bring it back to her and convinced her to come back in for the interviews. And she's kicking butt in that job right now.
That's amazing.
So
it's so inspiring, but it makes me so sad at the same time that we have come so far.
No, we're getting there. Don't be sad. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are.
Well, why do you think it is that women don't think that they can grow? Like, because it doesn't, I don't know, maybe because I am a guy and I have that different perspective, but like, I've always kind of known that you don't have to, like, you can kind of, what's the best way to say this? Like, you can grow into something and you can learn. Like, and we're taught that you can grow into things.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
You are
So
taught.
what is it? Because like we all sit in the same classrooms and we all listen to the same lectures. What is it about women that you're being told something different?
I don't know.
And how do we fix that?
Yeah. Well, we absolutely need to fix it. And I don't know what it is that women are told differently, but we are.
I go through, and I could speak on it for an hour, which I am this weekend. But I go through 4 trigger points with women. I find that when I look at the self-love and self-confidence and try to combine it, one is keeping the ego in check. And what I say with the ego, we don't super ego ourselves. We don't sell ourselves enough as women. And it definitely comes out in negotiation processes, setting boundaries. We have a really difficult time setting boundaries, saying no to people, because we're people pleasers by nature. We're multitaskers. We're change makers. But are we doing that with depriving ourselves of our own self-worth, our self-love, and taking care of ourselves? And then if you don't nurture yourself and take care of yourself, how are you going to outwardly project that anywhere else? And also, we fear fear. And we like our comfort zones, and that's a big boundary, which happens with men too. I definitely do see it, but I think men are very quicker, like you said, to adapt and get out of it. Like once they switch the mindset, okay, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be decisive doing it. We tend to dwell on it a little bit more, and it's really having self-affirmations with ourselves instead of going into that interview. So I can go on stage before every presentation. I get nervous. Come on, it's just what it is. And I can look at my mirror and myself in the morning and say, gosh, what if I lose my place? What if I forget my point? What if somebody's just looking at me and staring at me in an awkward way and it throws me off? But I go into the mirror and I say, I know this. I'm an expert at this. If I lose my place, I'll make a joke about it because I'm human. And humans make mistakes. And women all the time, we aim towards that perfection.
Yeah, we do.
And it's progression, not perfection.
Right.
Once we get that mindset, it's progression and not perfection, it's going to be okay. It works. It works. But yeah, we have quite a ways, but we've come quite a ways.
We have. We've come a long way.
A long way.
Yeah,
a long way.
It's true. Well, this was an awesome show, I feel like. This is a great episode.
We're not done.
I know, but
sorry.
I know,
Oh,
but I'm just feeling really good about where we landed, where we are right now in this moment.
Okay, yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm feeling awesome about where we are in this moment. That was such a zen thing to say.
I feel like I just had a therapy therapy session.
About where we are.
You know, I just feel really held in the grace of this moment, actually.
All right.
It's your mindset. It's your mindset.
Caryn, is there anything coming up you'd like to promote?
Sure. Well, I am coming out with a book.
That's exciting.
In April, and this is it's targeted towards women, this one. And it's my whole thing of self-empowerment, self-confidence, and the key to success. I'm going to say this properly because you guys can actually vote on me for the cover. The key to being a highly successful woman.
Okay.
There's my cover.
So here's what you're going to do. You're going to send me a JPEG of this. I'm going to put it up on the screen for our audience to look
excited.
at. But yeah, let me say.
So it's coming out in April. Now, what this book is, it says an actionable success journal. I believe I'm not writing a long-winded book. It has 7 sections to it that talk about empowering yourself as a successful woman. And then these mantras or ahas that you can journal and see if you're doing. And then I encourage, and also my publisher actually wrote, he reads the book to get the perspective from the woman's side and what they need in order to be good leaders and everything. He wrote a nice note in the book to me too.
That's so cool.
So I think it's a great book for women to carry around with them. It's a snippet book, I call it. That's what I call it. And you get a little self-doubt, open the chapter, look at a couple of the mantras, put yourself back on track.
I like
and you
it.
can write your own, there's a place to write notes for yourself, personal affirmations for yourself, and it really works. And my second book is going to be geared towards the male.
Nice.
Oh, so let's hear it.
So that I'm going to go more into, I have a chapter in this called Set the Ego in Check. I'm going to go into it more how the ego drives a lot of men to success and how it may not drive you to success. How to differentiate where the ego gets too blown up or it's not blown enough for successful men. And I'm actually trying to collaborate. I'm working to try to find a male to collaborate with to get the male thought process.
Wow.
So I have all my ideas in mind now. I'm just trying to pick the right male to do it with that would be interested.
Very cool.
Cool.
So do you have a mantra that you use every day that you just are, whenever something happens, you're like, okay, it's okay, because, and you say it?
Oh, I have a few. So let me think. It's okay to be happy. It's not going to drop. So often we think we're happy and we're in that mode and what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I often say to myself, today I'm going to make 2 to 3 clear, concise decisions without any doubt.
Okay.
And my day doesn't go as planned. That's okay because the sun is going to come up tomorrow.
Oh, I like that one.
The sun will rise tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now I'm going to have that song stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
The sun'll come out tomorrow.
Oh, I love her voice. I know. Don't ask me to sing. I think I can sing, but I really can't.
Well, I'm just faking it, so that's
You're not faking it. You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
I've heard it come out a few other times on podcasts, just Miley. I know you have a love for plays.
I
and
do,
Broadway.
yeah, Broadway. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
There was that time we did If I Could Turn Back Time on this show. Remember that?
Oh
You
my
don't.
God, I do.
I was just saying, how would you
I
forget
think I
that?
might have listened
Yes,
to that.
we did the Cher voice.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Hey, you know what? Music is in my life every day. I wouldn't be able to live without it.
You know, somebody recently reminded me, shout out to Stearns Matthews. He reminded me that singing releases oxytocin in your brain, which makes you happy. So if you don't sing in the car, you should, because science, it makes you happy.
Okay, so I know you're a big music fan. Are you a big music fan?
Sure.
So my therapy,
Yeah.
when people say how I therapy myself, is music.
Yeah.
So if I have literally playlists based on moods and based
Yes.
on things in my past. So if I just need to, like a lift, I have that lift playlist. I have my workout, which is pure rap. Because I just need the beat
Yeah.
of it. And then I have, like if I'm just feeling like I just want a melancholy day,
Yeah.
I have a melancholy playlist.
That's
and then I have
awesome.
one playlist that combines it all if I just don't know what I'm doing that day.
I have the same. I have a sing-along playlist. I have an awesome playlist, which is like a
Right.
lift. It's I won't go through them all, but yeah, I do the same thing because sometimes you just need what you need.
I know. Music is a great therapy.
Totally agree. Oxytocin. I totally forgot about it. Science. All right. I think that's our show.
That's our show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
No,
it's been
thank
great.
you. This
You
is
guys are
awesome.
terrific. This is great.
It really was. We had a great time. Thank you to our listeners and subscribers. We so appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, thank you to Caryn Ross of SpectaBridge Solutions for
Thank you
joining
so much,
us.
Kate Liddy. This was great. I had a lot of fun.
I'm so glad. And we will see you next time. Bye.